Hey, so this is B from Snaptrap Creations, and last week you saw in a short how to make this t-shirt out of a long sleeve. So this week we're going to actually dive in depth into how to do that, and we're going to make this shirt from a long sleeve as well. So stay tuned if you want to learn more. Okay, so first off, you'll see that I have my long sleeve laid out, and so the first step for this is you want it on any flat surface. I'm using a coffee table, but just anything that you can lay it flat on, smooth it out. You want to be able to feel where the seams to your sleeves start, and you want everything to be nice and flat, the collar, the sleeves, the body, just as much as you can. And so what I'm going to be using to measure for this is I'm going to be using a t-shirt with the sleeve length that I want that has about the same size as this shirt. The tags are different, but when I lay them out on top of each other, you'll see that they are basically the same size. And that's something you may run into. So just as long as it matches, that's okay. The tags don't necessarily have to match. Okay, so now that we have everything laid down, lined up, everything's good to go to measure, I'm going to go ahead and mark the new sleeves on this long sleeve shirt. So what I'm using is a piece of red chalk because chalk will wash out very easy and the red is bright enough that it'll show up on there. You can use whatever you have on hand as well, just make sure it's something that'll wash out of the fabric once you finish. Now for marking the sleeves, I'm going to make two lines that you'll see here. The first is going to be where the shirt sleeve actually ends on the long sleeve. So where the short sleeve shirt ends, I'm making a line here with a piece of red chalk and just follow that line as smooth as you can, make it straight and even. And then after this, I'm going to measure for the hem. So I'm going to make like you're pinching, and I'm going to do that with my index finger and my thumb. And I'm going to line that up with where the hem is on the shirt sleeve with the end, and then I'm going to move that shape down to where the line I just drew is and mark. And here is the close-up on it. So you see there's a line where the shirt sleeve ends and the one just after that. And this is your hem allowance. So when you flip the shirt inside out and you go to fold to make your hem, you're going to be following these lines. Okay, so now that everything is marked and ready to go for both sleeves, we're going to go ahead and cut. So when you cut the sleeves off of your long sleeve shirt, you're going to follow the hem allowance line. You're not going to cut where the t-shirt sleeve ends. You're going to follow the second line that's closest towards the end of the long sleeve. So you'll see here that I'm taking my sleeve, smoothing it out, and I'm just going ahead and cutting right along that. A tip to help keep this line straight is if you lay the bottom part of your scissors down flat against your surface, it'll help to keep it nice and straight so that you're not getting any wonky cuts. Just hold your scissors down there, keep your sleeve nice and pulled tight so that's a nice straight line, and you'll just glide right through. And we're just going to go ahead and repeat this on the other side. This line you can see is a little bit messier for the top, and that's okay. What you really want to be following to cut here is the hem allowance line. So that one is allowed to be a little bit messier so long as it's straight along the shirt sleeve line. If it smears a little, that's okay. I also have to apologize for the lighting here. I ended up blocking my window a little as I was cutting this side. Now the next step from here is we're going to make the hem. So first step for that is you need to turn your shirt inside out. It's very important that you have your shirt inside out for this step. And from here, what we're going to do is we're folding the bottom edge of the sleeve up until we see that line that we made. So for me, see the red chalk. And you're just going to follow this on both sides of the sleeve. Make it nice and even, fold everything to match. And that way then when you press them together, you have one clean line along the end of your sleeve. Now this next step, if you don't have an iron, you could go ahead and skip. But if you do, I recommend that you do it because it's going to help give you a nice clean end product. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to go ahead and press the edges that I just folded on my shirt sleeve. Now while I get everything in view, I got my iron here heated up, ready to go, and I'm just going to go ahead and press this seam. That way then it lies nice and flat. You see, press down and slide it across. Nice, easy, and this just really helps with the end product. Then flip it over and do the same for the other side. And there we go. Nice pressed hem. This next step is also going to help with the end product. And if you don't have straight pins, you can use like safety clips. I think I've seen paper clips used before in a pinch. And this is just going to help hold everything in place as you're sewing so that you keep a nice clean line as you go. So I'm taking some straight pins here and I'm just poking it through the top edge of that folded part and through the bottom fabric underneath as well. And then I'm pulling it back out through the folded edge so that you see the sharp point sticking out at the bottom here. And this is just going to help hold everything down so it doesn't move around as you sew. Now this next part is a little aside. This is the stitch that I'm using. This is a back stitch. And I'm showing you on a scrap of the sleeve with a piece of red thread so that you can see it better for contrast. So first step is I'm coming in from the bottom of the fabric so that the knot is going to be showing on the bottom and my thread comes out at the top of what's facing me, like so. And so next step, I'm going to come in where the thread just came out of, go through the bottom, and then move forward just a little. And now I'm coming back out through the top so that the thread is still facing me. That just makes a little pinprick of thread facing me, but if you go on the underside, you see the stitch. And we're just going to repeat this. Come in where the thread comes out of, move forward, and come back out. So this is why it's called a back stitch, because you're going back where you came from and then forward. And this helps anchor everything down. This is a very secure stitch. And I'm using this for hand sewing instead of using a machine because while I do have one, not everyone does, and I make sure this is something anyone can follow along with. And this is a very secure stitch for hand sewing, so this is why I chose this. It seemed like the best option. There's also other videos showing this online as well. One that I know of is the historical sewer Bernadette Banner has a video on different stitches, and this is one of them that she covers. So if you want to see some more footage of a back stitch and other stitches as well that you might be able to use if you're hand sewing, I recommend checking her out. She has a great channel, great content, and that video is actually how I learned to back stitch. You know, I'm not following it along perfectly, but it's still getting the job done. Now to end it off, what we're going to do is you're going to start off like you're doing another stitch and go in where you came out of. And you're going to come back just the teeniest bit, not as much as your full stitches before. You come back out. And before you pull that loop all the way down, you're going to stick your needle through that and then pull down, and that's going to create a knot. And so to double knot that, we're going to come back in, but instead of going through the shirt again, we're just going through the thread, just the little knot that we created right now. So if you look on my needle, there is no black threads at all from the shirt. It is all just red. And what we're going to do is just same thing, pull through. We're going to grab that loop and stick the needle through and then pull back down. There we go. Double knotted the end there. I'm just pulling the threads off because my scissors vanished. And from here, I'm just going to square knot the ends. So just like over, under, through the loop, that kind of thing. Just real quick, and I'm double knotting this as well, just to make sure everything stays nice and in place. Here's a bit of a progress update as far as I got, and also showing you some specifics for back stitching on a hem here. So with the two pieces of fabric, you only want to go through the very top edge of that folded over piece of your hem. You don't want to go all the way down or anything. Just keep it nice and along that top edge. This will help keep your line straight, and it's also going to help make sure that there's not like extra fabric flopping around at your arm. That's going to make it very awkward fitting. Another thing you'll see here is that if you remember when I cut my sleeve, the edge of the t-shirt was actually at a bit of an angle. So when I folded my hem, I had some parts of fabric that had a lot more than others. So you'll see I started clipping some of that as I go. Ideally, you'd want to do this before pinning down, but so I'm going to show you how I've been doing it while sewing, just so if this happens to you, it's something that you can follow along with. So first I'm just back stitching my way across the edge to this pin that I have here. These two are close together, so I'm going to go ahead and take them both out. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to point cut. So I'm using just the point of my scissors, and I'm making small cuts across. You'll see I'm pulling my fabric so it stays nice and tight. Moving with thread. Don't want to cut that end very badly. And so now I'm just snipping with the point across to that next blue pin here. Just small cuts all the way along and cutting just to that blue pin. So now that I've got to the pin, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my scissors so they're going completely opposite. They're going to go against the direction of it. So instead of going left to right, we're going up and down wise. and I'm cutting just right before that pin, again with the point, and just small cuts. You'll see the edge is a wee bit rough, but this is okay. This is going to help make it so it's not laying down with any bulges or anything from excess fabric. This is going to help keep it nice and smooth as we keep going with our back stitch across to here. So you'll see, just like I showed you before, come in where you came out of, go forward, go out, so on and so forth. I'm just going to repeat this across the entire edge of the sleeve. So pardon the lighting a little, but here is the finished first sleeve. So you got nice clean edge all around, everything's held down. It's a little wonky on the inside from where I was trimming as we were going, but that's okay. No one's going to see the inside, just us. And with hand sewing as well, sometimes if you're still starting out, it's not going to be a complete straight line like you would get with the machine, but that's also okay. You're not going to see that unless you're looking right up close to it. And using a black thread on black fabric like this will help so that no one else is going to really see it either unless they're really looking for any sort of flaws or anything. So this is just more for it fits like a t-shirt. We're not looking for like primo machine quality. And I think that's fine. If you're looking for machine quality, you may want to invest in one. But I'm very happy with how this is going along. And I hope you are as well as you follow along or as you're watching this. And here's the result on me. So this is what we made. Here's sleeves. A bit looser, a bit longer. These match the reference that we used this time better. And it fits really well. So the sleeves are nice and loose. Shirt fits nice, a little bit more fitted, but that's okay. Everything matches up well. So I hope you enjoyed watching this and that you'll subscribe for more. See you next time.